Testing, testing. Okay. Yeah, as the title says, I've made a mess with my monsters, which I'm in the middle of consolidating. But before I fix that, let's go over what I did yesterday. And for that I need the website. Otherwise, there's no chance I remember. So, okay. Move to new homepage. I think it was yesterday. Yesterday, directly after stream, Steam came through with the name change. And I moved as quickly as I could. I redirected the old website to the new one. So if you type in stogenrl, you land on the new site. That was painless. Let's go through the list. It's all there. I updated the socials, so I updated the YouTube name, the handle I already had updated, and I went through the videos and changed the descriptions by hand for about 10 of them till I realized that you can just bulk update them. So that's was also pretty painless. I had already made new images for the game for Steam, so I updated the images on Steam. I updated all the descriptions, switched out the names, and changed the name everywhere else in Steam where it was still needed. And yeah, then that was basically the whole day after stream. But then in the night I just couldn't let go the idea of making the game smaller. So it was, I think it was 240 megabytes uncompressed, so not in a zip file. What is on your hard disk if you download the game on Steam? That's 240 megabytes. And I thought that's way too much, because I know the data that's behind it is not that large. So I Googled so there were two things. The first thing is the tile data. That is pretty sparse because I'm saving a larger map, a much larger map actually, than what is actually playable. Some of that is populated, about half is empty. It's just zeros. So I knew it compresses pretty well. Uncompressed, I think it was, or is, 50 megabytes or something. Let me check. Yeah, new name. I have to get used to that. So yeah, it's 49 megabytes, the tile data, but compressed it is, let me see if I remember the command? Yeah, so as you can see, it's 1.5 megabytes of actual data. So I googled for a super simple compression algorithm that's only a couple of hundred lines of code in C, that's BSD licensed, or equivalent. And that is an algorithm that can decompress, that has a compression format that I can create compressed files for with a ubiquitous tool, for example gzip. So I found it's called puff.c. Search for that. This here in the CLib, and this is a BSD licensed, I think it's compression and decode and encode algorithm. This is mostly comments. It's really small. I put that file in the game's repo, so that is now part of Rangedrifter. And in my make file, when I bundle the game, I compress the tile data. And as before, I put it in an object file, compile it into the executable, but now I have a branch when reading the tile data, and if it's the release branch, I decompress it with this algorithm. So the tile data is now actually only 20 megs, 1.4 megs, which is a huge win. And then the second problem was the audio data. So most of the reason why the old executable was that large is because I put in the uncompressed PCM audio data, which is pretty stupid, but it worked. I mean, it still would have worked. But I wanted to compress it. And I knew that ogforbis could bring it down from, let's look. So the WAV file is 190 megabytes. And I have the OGG file lying around. That's 18 megabytes. So if you sum that up, this and this, plus 1 or 2 megs for the code, you have the new size of the executable. Originally, I didn't want to use ogforbis because it's arcane. It's 5,000 lines of C code. Of course, the obvious solution is to use the STB libraries, as they are widely used and well tested, as far as I could see. Well, I actually did find some problems in the code, but I fixed them. So I didn't want to use that, and I searched for other algorithms. So there's ADPCM, which is pretty simple. 400 lines of C code for the decoder, but it degrades the audio quality. So that's a no-go. Then you have mu law, but that only cuts the size in half. So in the end, I just took stb forbis, like the puff.c file, put it in the repo. So puff.c lives in zip.c. I renamed it so that it makes sense. And forbis is here, vob.c. That's the SDB library. And same thing in the make file. When I make a release bundle, I convert the WAV file using FFmpeg into OGG, create an object file from that, and bundle it and link it in the executable. So that's 2 more steps in the compilation, but the upside is that the game is now 22 megabytes. There is a bit of a delay opening the game now because it has to decompress the data. But if I compile, if I have a release compilation with optimizations turned on, it's pretty instant. So if I open this, then yeah, that wasn't instant, but it wasn't bad. Yeah. So that's decompressing the audio data and the tile data, which of course, so the RAM usage didn't change. It increased actually a little bit, but I checked that as well. It's 500 megabytes, more like 400 megabytes of RAM. So that's negligible. But yeah, it takes a while. It takes half a second to open now. But it takes, well, 10% of the time to download the game. And so having a small executable size is awesome because I can create builds easier on Steam. I can upload builds easier. I can back up builds easier. So transfer of the game is much easier now. Yeah, that's what I did. And the other thing, update the landing screen. Yeah, you've just seen that's the new landing screen. I'm planning to, so this is just, it's rendering a portion of the world. And I just give the landing screen a position and then it goes there. So I plan to pick many locations in the world that look good and let them rotate in the landing screen. Yeah. Maybe even slowly tween it. Or let it drift across the landscape. But this is good enough for now. Soften the font's numbers, edges. Yeah, so I I don't think that runs actually. Yeah. Because of my mess. Yeah, so in the lower left corner I've done away with the icons and I added a couple of letters, and as you can see the numbers are more rounded now. I might change that again depending on how hard it is to read for others. And yeah, that brings me to the mess I made today. Actually, let me think. What did I... Why are there two stones here? What did I do today? So, I mean, I can tell you I did nothing but work on the game, but I know I know the mess I made, but that wasn't the only thing. Yeah, I think I worked. Oh yeah, I updated the website, so I rearranged it a bit. I added the new text up here and then moved things around. I added my face again and small things, so nothing crazy. And yeah, I also have to, I think I'll have to update this image because the font is too small. I have to upload new screenshots, completely new screenshots, and make them before I upload them, and then I have to update this text. So I am trying to set expectations that hopefully make it clear to people what they are buying, and so nobody's... What I don't want is high expectations, because this is a long-term project. This is also not just a game I make. This is the only game I make. Ask me again in 10 years, but I don't think I'll do a second game. And so it's going to take time, and I'm going to have to take the time to not design and program myself into a corner somewhere. So I will update the text here and make it a bit clearer. I'll make it very clear what's in the game, everything that's in the game, and when people see it and say, oh, that's actually not very much, I'd rather wait, then that's perfectly fine. But I don't want people to feel cheated. So I'll list the number of monsters, maybe not every single monster, so because that could be spoilers for some people, but yes, you get the gist. That's what I'm working on with the marketing. In order to do that, I'll have to finalize what is in the game and what is not, on release at least. So that brings me to my mess that I made. I have boiled it down to, what is it, 14 monsters. that I want in the game at launch. And instead of just an axe, I will add a sword as well. But I'll cheat a bit and say a sword's just a higher level axe, which is, I mean, in most games that's how it works. And what I also did is I removed the bow and arrow. And I removed the knives. And that is because I realized that I can consolidate them in a sling and a pebble. So the knives are the pebbles now, or the stones. They are lying around on the ground. If you pick them up, you can throw them at monsters. Or if you have a sling, you can do the same, but with more damage, of course. So that gives you a much more focused ranged weapon that I think is much better. It fits the theme because you're walking through a land that's so old that you wouldn't find arrows lying around. Maybe there would be arrows probably, but they'll be warped and flimsy and broken. So yeah. So the mess I made is that I have this global array called objects. And all the objects are declared in that array. And the array is indexed by a handle for each object. For example, a wolf has just the handle wolf, all capital letters. And finding out which monsters I want to keep and which ones will go and which new ones will be added today. I've got the handles and the array in disarray. So, and to make matters worse, I did some additional changes, which are just sound like